Sometimes we romanticize the art, the science, the logic of coffee making. Yeah, sure, it's coffee and water, but if we're really truly being honest with ourselves, it's more than that. It's our gear, gadget, the way we like our coffee, the way we think about coffee, the way we want to express what we're drinking in our cup of coffee for whatever reason. So yeah, this is more so mine. I hope that you get something from it. I call this the coffee chain. And I think it's cool to know what other people do when they make their cup of coffee, their reasonings why. And I just want to talk about it for a little bit. So check me out on the other side. If that makes any sense. I don't think it does. See you soon.
Hey, I hope all is well with you. I know it seems kind of weird that I'm talking about something that doesn't really make sense and how does it really relate to coffee, but let's start off with a definition of what vocal chain is. Ever since I started to really get into this YouTube thing, I had to get things to enhance the whole quality. And as you go down deep into the rabbit hole, you start to notice things that you're doing as it relates to, I guess, content creation in this case. But let's talk about what the vocal chain is. A vocal chain refers to the sequence of audio processing effects tools used to treat a vocal recording, typically in music production. It's a signal path that a vocal track goes through from recording to final mix. So as you saw in the beginning of all this, is that I showed you my actual vocal chain. But let's really talk about how it relates to you. We all have something that I will call a coffee chain, like things that we usually use in order to make our cup of coffee. So I'm gonna bring up all the stuff that I currently use. And the cool thing about the actual vocal chain is that it can change. It can be whatever it may be for whatever application. So this is the main application that I'm working on, at least right now for the next couple of weeks. And I'll tell you the reason why. So one of the first things that we have right here is the pitcher. There's nothing too special about the pitcher, just as long as it is able to capture or catch the coffee, right? So this is a Hario Coffee Server 3. I also have another one that's a little bit smaller, and I use these pitchers in order to make my coffee. And the reasons why I use these pitchers is because I'm able to make my coffee in a pour over type of way. And again, it captures the amount of coffee that I need and everything. So this is one part of the coffee chain, and you probably have something very similar, okay? The next thing, I don't think this is a surprise by a lot of people, but this is the Hario V60 Switch. This is one of my favorite brewers. I do like the regular Hario V60. As you can see, I have 3 or 4 of them right there. And then I have the Switch. The reason why I like the Switch so much because it's more versatile. I can hold the recipes. I can play around with it like that. So I have more versatility out of this brewer. So this is the one that I'm using most of the time. All right, a part of the whole thing is this right here. This is a filter. And most people will think that this is just a regular filter. Actually, it is the fast filter. I can't remember the company name, but this is a fast filter. Believe it or not, I used to hate these filters, but now I see the point of them. And you can manipulate different recipes. You can do different things with them. And you do have the added benefit of drawing down fast if you want to do that or manipulate your coffee that way. So this is part of my process, my current coffee chain right now as it is. So the next thing, here's the king grinder. This is the K2. I also have the K6, but I mainly use the K2 for pour over, okay? And it's weirdly that I say this, but I think it's important that I do say this, is that I don't change this grind size at all. I manipulate my coffee through temperature, through technique, and the way that I actually make my recipes. And it's been working out really good. That's a story for another day why I don't really change the filter setting or the grind setting on this grinder, but it works out really well, and I've been playing around with that type of notion because I do think I have it perfectly set for my applications, even when I do a light roast, medium roast, a dark roast, and all that stuff. But again, that's a story for another day. This is just for demonstration purposes because we're gonna actually brew a cup, okay? This is a food scale. This one I just use mainly for these videos, but the main one I use is a Bonavita food scale. It goes to 1/10 of a gram, and that's the reason why I like that particular filter. I mean, not filter. That's why I like that particular grinder. Okay, put this over here because of that reason. and I've had it for many years. I don't know if they make it anymore, but it works. So why upgrade just for the hell of it? If it works, it works. So that's a part of my repertoire when I have my coffee chain. Okay, so we have the grinder, and then one of the other things is Everyday Beans coffees. Okay, this is not a plug or anything like that, but this is part of the coffee chain. You may have different coffees that you're actually using in order to make your cup of coffee every day. This is my coffee. I actually roast this coffee, and right now this coffee is a mix between a Peruvian and also Honduras coffee. And I've been really liking it as a medium roast. That's where it really shines. And then also as a dark roast, the 50-50 split. And at least currently right now, this is a light roast. And the reason why this is critical is because I'm not so much of a big fan of light roast. It's a way for me to understand light roast even more so, kind of play around with it. And this is the current coffee that I'm using for my journey for the next couple of weeks to see if I have a more of appreciation for actual light roasted coffee. Okay, you may have a different coffee that you may use, and that's perfectly fine. And the beauty of this, which I say a lot, but it is, the beauty of this is that when we drink coffee, it goes. And once it goes, we can select a different type of coffee. So this right here is the grinder. I put the coffee inside. And the other thing is also another Bonavita kettle. The reason why I like that kettle is because I've had it for a long time. It's a gooseneck kettle. I do use, where is it? Right there from time to time, but it's been a while since I've used the other Hario kettle that you pour water into. I like this kettle because it's a variable kettle. I can go all the way down to 150 to 212 degrees, okay? So let's go ahead and get some coffee ground. So now we're gonna see how much we're working with. So a part of the coffee chain is also the recipe. So right now, my favorite recipe is to do a 1:15 ratio. I believe it gives me the best sweet spot when it comes to actually enjoying coffee. And that's just me. You may like a 1:15, 1:10, 1:20 ratio. That's part of our coffee chain because that's gonna, all of that stuff is gonna have an impact in the flavor of the coffee, right? And speaking of recipe, I didn't wash this, but again, we'll just do what we need to in order to enjoy this cup of coffee as it is right now. And the water as it is right now is at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, all of that is a part of the coffee chain, okay? And this is the kettle that I was talking about that I use. I've been using this kettle for a long time. I know there are other ones that are out, but they all do the same thing. And I've been trusting it. Sometimes the temperatures get a little wacky here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty accurate. So I still use it. The reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because it's important that we know the importance of the coffee chain. What does that really mean? The beauty of all of this is that we can change out any of the variables as we're making coffee, and then we can figure out things that we need to change or have to change depending on the taste that we're trying to get out of that particular coffee. So it's done. So let's go ahead and taste our coffee. Now that it's complete through all the things that we have done in order to make our cup of coffee. And that's really what it is. The coffee chain is not something unique or new. It's just a different way of you thinking about approaching and drinking your cup of coffee. This is my setup as it is right now. At times it changes. Sometimes I want to play around with a flat bottom brewer. So I either use the Hario V60 or I use the April brewer with the Kalita Wave filter or whatnot. We can tend to be like, okay, what's really limiting us? What's enhancing the way we actually drink our cup of coffee? Is it the cup of coffee, the actual coffee? Is it the gear that we're using? Is it the way that we go about our recipes? Is it the temperature? And that's the cool thing about all of this. We can change any part of the coffee chain in order to enhance our coffees. So remember that. It gives you a different perspective of how you can totally enhance your cup of coffee with the gear and the coffee that you're using. So this is Oki at Everyday Beans signing out. Talk to you later. Bye.